Backgrounds are actually some of the more complex properties that are available within CSS. So we saw that we could set backgrounds for different elements, and we can also set backgrounds for the body. So I'm going to show you how to do that within this lesson. Let's open up our style.css and we're going to select body, and from body, and now we're going to add in a background image. So we need to be able to have a resource for an image. We've got placehold it, and we've got lorem images, lorem pixel images. So maybe we're going to just grab one of these lorem images here. So I'm just going to grab that path here, copy it, and go open up my editor and add background image. So much like we specified background color, we see that brackets is actually giving us some options here. We've got color, which we've already looked at, and we've got a bunch of other options here as well. So we've got image, we've got position, repeat, size, and so on. So for this one, we're doing a background image. And here, now we need to just specify the URL of the image. And we need to put quotes around there. So we specify within the brackets the URL of the image we want to use for the background. So let's take a look at that. And now we see that we've got a bread image in the back there. And now we've got a bridge and so on. So some really nice options there that we can do with background images. Now there are some things that you need to be wary of when you are creating images. We see that we get this background and we've got our text is hardly readable. So this is stuff you've got to be cognizant of, that when you ever add in and you want to make sure that you've got contrast. Although we do see that we get that RGBA effect here where we can actually see through the colors there, so that alpha transparent colors. And this is CSS3, so may or may not work depending on the browser, the age of the browser, and so on. So that's just a warning about that. So just like what we were doing over here within the header paragraphs where we set multiple properties, we can do the same thing for the body. So let's say we don't want this background image to repeat, or we only want repeat on a particular angle. So we've got background, repeat. And here we've got all of our options. So we can do a no repeat, so that only shows at one time. We can also set it up to only repeat on X. We can repeat it on Y. By default, it's repeat, and that's where we've got it right now, where it's showing them all. If we go X, so it will only repeat across the horizontal line. If we do Y, it will only repeat vertically. But we see that depending on the image size, it's only taking up its allocated space. So we also have some other options where we can repeat. So let's just keep it at repeat. And let's check out some other options that we have for background images. So we see here that we've got it repeating, but we can also, so even when we scroll down, it's pretty much infinitely there. It continues to repeat and so on. So let's actually set a background position. So we've got an option here for background position where we can set it to the bottom, we can set it, and maybe we need to update this to no repeat so that it makes a little bit more sense when we're actually positioning it. So we see that the image now is positioned at the bottom, and whenever we scroll up, it stays fixed there at the bottom because we've got no repeat. So it's actually going from the bottom, and it could be cutting off at the top as well. So I'm not sure if the repeat was cutting off, but if we do repeat it, we see that the cutoff now should be at the top, and because it's starting from the bottom, it looks like it's fairly well sized for this, so we're not really seeing that effect. If we go back to no repeat, so let's bring this one up to the top, so bring it back up to the top. And we also have some options where we can put it on the right hand side if we want. So now it's top right. So let's just save that and give it a second here to refresh. So now we've got top right. We can also do left, so bring it over to the left. And this is the default again. So we also have some options to fix the position. So instead of having background position, we also have an option here for background attachment. So we can fixed, inherit, local, scroll, and so on. So by default, it's not a fixed position, so it's a scroll position. But the fixed position gives us this effect where the background stays still and we can see the content hovering on top of it. And just to finish off, so we see we've got a lot of options for background, but we also have a way to write this a lot shorter because we keep having to repeat this property and then the value and another property and a value. So wouldn't it be good if we could just do background and have everything in one place? And we actually can. We can apply shorthand to it. So if we have, I'm going to add in a background color as well. So just so we have that as the default, so background color red there and so on. So let's take a look at the shorthand option. So we're going to accomplish all of this the same type of format where we can do the color there, we can add in that URL. Actually, there should be a space there and a space there. So the color red, URL, so now it's repeating by default. So let's add in that no repeat. So now it's gone back to that no repeat, and now we can position it. So we've got it left. So let's put it at the right. Put it at the top, and there we go. So now this value is overriding all of this, and it really does look a whole lot neater. So instead of having that, we can have it within the shorthand method and accomplish the exact same thing. So with backgrounds, there's quite a lot of options, and there's a lot you can do with your backgrounds. I would say first try it with the longer methods until you get used to all the different options, the properties that you can apply to the backgrounds, and then you can go ahead and bring it all and create a shorthand version of your longer CSS properties here for backgrounds.